Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. But it's taught me a lot as well, because I realized that if you want something badly enough, you will make it happen. And I think the thing that really pushed me and allowed me to get to the point where I am now is because I had so many people doubting me. I had family members, people around me. They were like, oh, you should probably find something else. You're not making money. It's kind of a waste of your time. Why are you doing this? You should get a real job. Got talked out of it. I had to miss a lot of opportunities. I had quite a few times where I took the train somewhere and then wasn't selected for something, used my last dime to get somewhere. My favorite memory is, long story short, there was a celebrity hairstylist that had reached out to me on my Instagram. This was like still at the beginning of my career. I didn't have anything going on. I can't even say career because I wasn't making money like that. Like, I think if anything, like, I was still accepting like $50 jobs and stuff. And nothing wrong with that, but at the time, like, I was really new. And this celebrity hairstylist had reached out to me and was like, oh my gosh, I love your look. I would love for you to model for me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But then I was like, what if this is fake? So I did my research on her. I think she'd included her website. I looked her up. It was her. And so at the time, I didn't even have the $7 to get on the train to get down there, to get to LA. It was a 2-hour train ride on the Metrolink. And I think I scraped for change around the house. And I managed to get on the train. I got out to her. This wasn't the same day. This was like a couple days. So I had a little bit of time to like figure it out. But I told her at the time, I was like, hey, I don't have any money to get down there. She's like, I really love your look. If you can find a way to get down here, I'd love to book you. She's like, I have $500 for you. And I was like, $500? Oh my gosh. So at the time, I'm like, okay, let me figure this out. I told her I'll be there. The day comes for the shoot. And I remember I got on the train. I scraped together, I'm pretty sure I had quarters in my hands, like, for my change to get on the train. And I got there really early because I was like, I can't be late. The train's 2 hours and the shoot was at 8. So I got there for like 6 a.m. So I waited till closer to that time and I texted the lady and I said, hey, I'm here. No response. I called. The number you dialed is incorrect. And I'm like, what? I was confused. So at the time, I had one of my mentors go check out the location to make sure that this wasn't going to be like something unsafe. Because I think it was at like a Starbucks or something down the street. And so I had him go check out the location. And he went, and then he came over to escort me over there. So it wasn't like a scam or anything. This was the actual lady that, said she was wanting to book me. And she was like, oh, you didn't get my email? I found 2 other models. And I'm like, no! Just know I cried that whole train ride back. I cried for like 3 weeks after that. And then after that, just nothing seemed to be going right. So turns out I had checked my email later and somebody in the Philippines had hacked my email. It notified me that someone logged in and changed everything. Or not changed, they were getting into my emails. And they were trying to hack into my email. Well, they hacked in, but they were trying to change all the information. They deleted her email that she's the one that was inviting me to come out, the whole thread. And she deleted the email with that person, with her saying that she found somebody else. So I cried for like 3 weeks. Then also I remember at the time one of my photographers was like, hey, so-and-so's looking for makeup models for a shoot. Are you available? I said, yes. I think at the time the job was like $200 and it's like, oh my gosh, $200. Because this was all within a short period of time. I remember all of this like it was yesterday. And so I reached out and I was like, oh my gosh, love the opportunity. Sorry, I'm gonna put some lip balm on. My lips are really dry for some reason. I would love the opportunity. And he was like, oh, since he referred you, I think, you might get this. Like, so I'm like, oh my gosh, like first time getting paid for something? Because at the time I still wasn't making money. I think the only thing I was doing was like music videos, if that. And like, that's cool, but like if your background, you're never, like half the time you're not really visible and stuff. So this was like the opportunity to be selected for something. I'm like, ooh, payment. And so then the guy comes back and he's like, hey, so sorry. And it turns out I didn't have choice on who the models were gonna be. The client told me I did, but I don't. So I'm sorry, we won't be able to use you. They already selected their models. That devastated me. And then I think like a week later, at the time there was a photographer that had been asking to shoot. I'm gonna say quote unquote photographer because I don't know. But he reached out and said, hey, I'd love to shoot with you. I had no transportation still at the time. And I think at the time I had the boyfriend at the time, I had him, I think he asked one of his parents to drive us down to that location for the shoot. So that was another 2.5 hour drive. We got there. I remember I had convinced the makeup artist somehow to collaborate with me by doing my makeup in exchange for portfolio images. And I felt really bad because even though the shoot seemed to have gone pretty well, later on the guy never paid me. He told me, I'll pay you later. He didn't. That's another thing. If people say they're gonna pay you later, unless you have it in writing in a contract, they're probably not. And so he promised he was gonna pay later. I never got the pictures. And I remember at the time, I think my mom reached out to him and he told her I was difficult. He told a lot of people I was difficult and that I refused to get in the water and I didn't listen. I'm like, the water was icy cold. So he said he wasn't gonna heat it up at all. It was icy. He told me at the time, like, oh, he just said he couldn't heat it up for some reason. But he said, you don't have to get in the water, it's fine. So I'm like, okay, cool, I don't have to get in the water. And so, yeah, that was another time. So that was 3 times in a row. And I remembered that because I was like, wow, those were times where I could have gotten paid and I didn't. Yay. So I cried for like a long time. But I was about to quit modeling after that because I was like, well, obviously these people are saying they're going to pay me. They're not going to. And I remember I had a friend at the time. His name was Robert. He was cool. I met him in college. He was super sweet, very supportive. And I'm thankful for him as well because he was very supportive and he was a huge fan of my work at that time. And he was like, no, you're a great model. You know, watch, you're going to be making money one day. You're going to be crushing it. And he was like, don't let these things, like pretty much told me like, don't quit because you didn't get paid those few times. So I'm like, okay, I guess I have to like keep going. And I really was about to quit. Just say, forget it. You know, it's not worth it. And I'm glad I didn't. Don't remember what my first paid job was, unfortunately, because that was so long ago. But to be honest, I was just picking up whatever gigs I could find on LA Castings, on Facebook, random jobs, like whatever prices that were listed. People say, hey, I need a model for this. I would attach my best photo. I had another not so fun situation, but at the time I didn't know anything about finding an agency or finding management. And I remember this like random guy had reached out to me and he was from Chicago or something like that. And he was supposed to be like a music artist or something, but he was pretending to be like a manager. And so he reached out to me and was like, hey, I would love to represent you. And at the time, I don't know why I was so trusting. I think I was like 19 by that time. And at the time I was staying with a friend. Long story short, he got me on the Snoop and Martha show. I don't know how, like as a like audience member, but he got somebody on set to like do like the makeup transformation to make me into Snoop Dogg for the Halloween episode. Completely random. I thought that was really cool at the time. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Unfortunately, I wasn't put on the episode, which I'm fine with. Like, I don't care at all now, but at the time I was like, no. So I told him, and I didn't know what, while we were there, he was harassing one of the producers, and I was like, no. So that was kind of bad because I feel bad. You know, I didn't know about that, and so I was wondering why the vibes were weird while I was there. Yeah. So that was bad. And then I remember at one point he had me meet a celebrity chef in a park, in a skate park. It was completely random. We were I was so naive at the time. I just kind of like was doing what I was told. In all actuality, that wasn't safe because technically I didn't know where I was going. He could have Ubered me anywhere. This could have turned into like a trafficking situation or something wild. Who knows? It didn't, but he literally just had me standing in the park talking to this guy about the Wu-Tang skate clan. Not the Wu-Tang clan, but there's a skate team associated with that supposedly. I never looked into it after that because I was like, this is kind of random. He got mad at me because I couldn't find the way. At the time I had no transportation still. He had wanted me to meet up with a agency at the time, and it was like a talent agency, but it was like I think probably an agency that didn't even have like any clients really, which by the way, it doesn't matter too much, I guess, but like at the time I didn't have a way of getting there, and he was so like adamant about me getting there, and I had no transportation, so he kind of like went off on me. It was like really disrespectful about the fact that I couldn't get there, and I'm like, you're telling me about something same day and then getting mad that I can't get there. What sense does that make? So I think eventually down the line somehow I cut ties with him, thank goodness, but not before he did some damage. There was a couple like fast fashion brands that I was gonna get the opportunity to be an ambassador for, and he emailed. Oh, that was another thing. I made the mistake of making a joint email with this person, and he had access to respond to everybody, like all the inquiries that were coming in at the time. And he told a brand, hey, she's not interested. So he ruined that for me at the time. I think at the time a major magazine was looking, oh no. There was a photographer for a major magazine that was willing to shoot with me collaboratively. And he told them I wasn't interested anymore. So that ruined that for me at the time. And then there was a celebrity makeup artist that was having a class in LA. And he literally told them, hey, she's not interested. And I was like, no, because I had nothing going on at that time. Like when I say nothing, all of these things were major to me. And plus I care about my relationships with people. And so before that, he actually got this other celebrity makeup artist to do my makeup for a major makeup event. So that was pretty cool. But somehow he lied his way into opportunities. So this guy was not a manager. He was somebody random that was saying, hey, I'm a manager. So also, guys, beware. Don't let people tell you that they're doing stuff. But I was really naive. But he lied his way into different opportunities. Like somehow he created like a scissor reel for a show, for like a makeup show. Got a ton of celebrity makeup artists to be part of it. Either that or he stole the footage from somewhere. I'm still not sure. The show never came out. Don't know what he did with that or if he started that. But there was a lot of like bigger makeup artists that were following him. So he somehow lied his way into that opportunity. Don't know how he did it, but he did. But yeah, that was my journey. You know, to this day now, I am a content creator as well as a model for beauty, fashion, athletic wear brands and stuff like that. But I think if it wasn't for all these things happening, I probably wouldn't be here. And I think the fact that people doubted me, the fact that people told me I couldn't do this stuff, that actually really just helped out because it helped motivate me to work harder and prove them wrong. So that's it for today's video. If you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for more notifications. Also, let me know in the comment section if you guys have any more questions for me. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.